I'm Jake Sanderson.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, if you like good goaltending, you'll love tonight's hockey game. The result withstanding, Lalime continues to shine, but Alex Ovechkin scores the game winner. The final score, 1-0. Senators lose on home ice in overtime against the Caps. I'm Ross Levitan. Welcome to the Postcast. I'm alongside the Martian, at Lalime's Martian on social media, and Jack Richardson as well. Boys, we were talking about in the group chat, the 2-0 win over the Islanders was some of the most boring hockey I've ever seen. But Martian, for a 1-0 game, this had a lot of pop.
Yeah, this had some substance to it, Ross. The boys were flying out there. There was lots of chances both ways. And as you said, if you like goaltending, this was a show for you because Levitan and Logan Thompson were both playing unbelievable tonight. It was a showdown. And, of course, the only guy who's able to beat Levitan is going to be the best goal scorer of all time, Alex Ovechkin, in overtime. So it didn't go our way here tonight, but it was an entertaining game. Like you said, I was happy with it. You know, for a 0-0 hockey game, it was fun to watch.
Jack, did you get as nervous as I did when right before overtime they pulled up the stat that Alex Ovechkin has the most overtime goals in NHL history?
Yeah, anything with Ovi, I'm nervous. And in ends up being a 1-0 game. I'm not shocked he's the one who ended it, making it a 1-0 win. That's the 179th NHL goaltender that Alex Ovechkin has scored on. That's another NHL record. Won't be the only one he breaks this season if I'm a betting man. Levitan, not the reason they lost by any means. Just a tough one to break down, to be honest. They played well, just couldn't score. Logan Thompson's a hell of a goalie too. We'll get into all of it, but weird one tonight for the Sens, but also fun. I never thought I'd say that after a 1-0 loss.
Yeah, and the out-of-town scoreboard sucked. We'll touch on that later. But tonight's game started out red hot for the Ottawa Senators. They were dancing in the first period. Zach Ostapchuk, Nick Cousins, Tim Stützle had 3 grade A chances in the first period. Could not bury. Would you like to see him shoot that puck, Martian, where he tried to dance in and just lost the handle? Would have had a wide open net otherwise.
Yeah, I almost wish Timmy broke out the iPad for that one and got a glimpse of what Jack Hughes did against the Leafs tonight when he was in tight in a very similar situation. He kind of just went to that short side instead of trying to reach around, head towards that defenseman, and obviously he got knocked off his stick there. I don't know if I wanted to see him shoot it. I like it when Timmy's creative, so I want him to do his thing out there. He was close. I think that was as good of a chance as you're going to get, and for Timmy, it was close there. So I can't really complain about what he did, especially early in the game. I think maybe if that happened later in the game, Ross, I might look at that and be like, get that shot on net, get yourself a chance to score there. But at that point in the game, I think he kind of did the right thing. He was using his creativity, using his hands, trying to get it around Logan Thompson, try to make a difficult save. He just got his the puck knocked off his stick on that one.
Stützle looked great. I thought all the big boys looked good, to be honest. We've had some games where, again, they get shut out on home ice. You're not thinking you're going to start talking about how well the team played, but overall I thought they were great. The Washington Capitals are the best team in the NHL right now, which is not something, again, that I expected to say in January. But I think with Timmy, yeah, I thought they were getting a little mixed up with Logan Thompson catching with his right hand. I think that messed up some of their shots and the way they were attacking, because I just know that when you're shooting on a goalie like that, it's so rare. There's so few of them around the league even. You don't get those reps. You don't get that. It's a different way to shoot, and especially, you're a lefty, a good spot to shoot off the rush is far right pad because it's his blocker. It's hard, but then Thompson just catches it, and it's a different game. You really have to game plan around that, and I thought in the first and second especially, they struggled with that on the power play too. That bumper play doesn't work as well. So just some things, but Timmy, man, I mean, I thought he had a great game overall. I think he's over that flu officially. I know the points aren't there. I've seen some concerns about his point totals. Obviously his pace has just dropped off a cliff. But I'm not worried about the German whatsoever at all. I don't know about you guys. I know that I'm not worried about anything with the team overall after that game. And I think just basically the way that Tim Stützle plays indicates that a lot of the time for me.
I'm worried about one thing, boys. The power play struggled tonight. 0 for 3 on the power play. But first, let me tell you, the Postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Great food, awesome drinks, an atmosphere to match. I always say that off top of the show, and I got so excited about the goaltending battle that I forgot to mention the GCP at 779 Bank Street is our pub. 10% off when you go there on game days, and you can take the Sens shuttle to every Ottawa Senators game. But boys, the power play tonight, especially that third one at the end of the second period, you're like, give me something here. No shots at all on that one. Like, Martian, what do you do to fix it? Because that's something that can win you a game like this.
Yeah, I think this is something that I've mentioned in Postcast in the past, not even this year, but in the years past. I think they just need to get back to just being a little bit more simple with it. They're trying to find that perfect play. I know you're up against a really good goaltender here tonight, and you're probably looking to, beat him clean. But I think you got to get a little bit more gritty than that. You got to get that traffic in front of the net, and you just got to start sifting pucks through from the point, as we say. And I think if they can go back to a little bit more of that sort of style of a power play where they're not necessarily – and first of all, the entries have been horrible. Like, especially for that first unit, they're struggling to get that entry clean. But, just once you get in there, you got to be able to fire pucks to the net. And, 0 shots on a power play is basically unacceptable in this league. And that's the one thing probably, Ross, that I would point to in this game as the reason why the Ottawa Senators didn't end up pulling off the victory here is all they needed really to do is to score on one of those 3 power plays that they had. And going over 3, it's a tough look. Obviously, they've been hot at home on the power play, especially early in the season. I think since Christmas, they've been cold, though. So they need to get back to doing a little bit more of a simple style power play. And I think they're going to eventually find success there. But, especially if you get a big body in front like Brady Tkachuk in there to bang pucks and block the goaltender's vision. But, yeah, for me right there, that's all I'm going to say about that is really it's just got to keep it a little bit more simple and just get pucks to the net with traffic.
One thing that kind of confuses me, it seems like more and more Brady Tkachuk's playing in that Josh Norris spot where he's a little bit further out and trying to facilitate a little bit more. You needed an ugly goal tonight. That's what would have been kind of what the doctor ordered. Logan Thompson now back-to-back shutouts. So you just got to tip your hat to a great goaltending performance. Kind of interesting how the game flowed, though. It was like Logan Thompson made a lot of his great saves in the first period and a bit in the second. And then it felt like the tide just turned in the third. Washington heavily outshot Ottawa 12-7 in the third period. I believe it was 8-1 at one point as well with their power play coming in the middle of the frame. And Levitan, man, this guy is just continuing to impress me despite the OT loss tonight. A .963 save percentage, 26 saves on 27 shots. Jack, I'm running out of adjectives to describe him. This guy, he's definitely an NHL goalie. And he might even be a lot more than that, too.
Ross, word for word, I said the almost exact same sentence about Linus Ullmark about a month and a half ago. I was running out of words to describe him. So I think you're bang on with that. I don't like this kid is so locked in. He's so calm, even on plays where he doesn't look like he's maybe in the best position or it squeaks by him. He knows where the puck is right away. He's never confused about where he is on the ice, the time of the game. I don't want to nitpick his game. Obviously, he's been unbelievable. He's the reason they're getting points lately. He's kind of revived their season, as we keep talking about, and keeping them afloat. But there were a couple times in the third where he kind of played the puck because they were doing that a lot in the second, right? They were just keeping the flow going. I would have liked to see him freeze it because that's what Ullmark, I think he's the best at sometimes, is just getting the play slowed down, get the change, get the whistle, you're on home ice. I thought Ullmark was really good at that. It's one of the things I noticed when he was really hot. He was, one shift where the team's a little frantic, and there was one play tonight in the third. I think it was, I forget who was out there in the time of the game, but they were hemmed in a lot, and he played it instead of freezing it. And it was kind of a play where, but again, if I'm nitpicking that on a goaltender, that's that's a good thing. He's been outstanding. It's not even a problem. It's just something I think when you get older and you play more, you learn, right? And definitely not a loss that you're going to look at and say Levitan is the reason they lost the extra point tonight.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Levitan is that something that I really like about him is that he's not one of those goaltenders who finds himself out of his crease playing the puck, though, right? Like you mentioned how he's keeping the puck moving and keeping the flow of the game going, and that's something Ullmark's really good at. But with Levitan, he's one of those goalies now who he stays in his net. Like he does not go out of his way to go behind the net, play the puck, make a mistake, and then get himself caught. He's very cautious that way, and I really enjoy that part of his game because we've seen goalies in Ottawa for sure with like guys like Craig Anderson, who maybe aren't the best puck handlers, and they find themselves out of the net, and it ends up being a little bit of an adventure for the rest of the team. But Levi Marilyn is really good at it's that famous Steve Dangle quote, boys. And I don't like to give a Leafs fan a ton of credit, but it was a hilarious quote where he says, "If you're a goaltender, tend the goal," and that is what Levi Marilyn does. And when you look at this guy right now, man, boys, like how many goaltenders in the NHL right now are 23 years of age or younger and looking this good? I think maybe there's one, and it's probably Dustin Wolf is probably even
he's older. No, Levy's the youngest goalie with multiple wins this season. Only Sebastian Cossa, who got a 1-game call-up when Detroit had some injuries, is younger.
Is Wolf not 23 as well?
Marilyn is 22.
Oh, so Levy's even a little bit younger. Yeah, so that's a really good sign when you have a guy this age who's able to like gain this kind of experience at point of his career. So, I think Dustin Wolf is 23. So it's just incredible to see, and it's a really good sign. And he couldn't have come at a better time for this team either.
And we'll get into Levi Marilyn a little bit more. We'll have our Sens Central standouts and also hit on Donovan Sebrango's NHL debut. But let's discuss how this game fell apart. 2 minutes left in overtime. Jake Sanderson flies out of his zone, creates a 3-on-1, and I feel like he almost had too much speed that his mind couldn't catch up to it, because what would have happened if he got it over to Giroux is a wide open lane to the net, but instead he drives wide, misses the centering pass afterwards, and then loses the puck battle, and it's a 2-on-1 the other way from the defensive blue line. So to me, that's a play where you're going 100 miles an hour, and it's hard to. I thought Jake Sanderson actually had a really good game tonight, obviously taking on a lot more burden with Thomas Chabot out of the lineup, but you could have made a quicker read when you entered the zone, and it goes the other way, and it's in the back of the net. And again, it feels like nitpicking, but when it's a 1-0 game in overtime, those are the little plays that can make a difference. So, Jack, what did you see on that play?
Yeah, same thing. And it does feel weird, right? Because it's still a high event game, but only one goal happened. So there's not a ton of mistakes too by the Sens. It was pretty clean, I thought, overall. But you're right. And then in those games, those little moments become that much more important. And it kind of goes back to the power play too. Like that, I found that their power play, it links to the overtime for me, because their first power play was fine, created a lot. Second one kind of fell off a little bit. Then the third one was brutal. And you could see the team lose confidence a little bit. And I felt that a bit in overtime too, because they had the puck for the first 2.5 minutes. It felt like tried a bunch of different entries, regrouped a couple times, which I do like. I understand that that's how the 3-on-3 works now. You have to do that. But it felt like Washington, I don't want to say they let Sanderson go up the ice, but it was almost like, okay, try and beat us here, and then we'll take advantage if you don't. And then they did, because they're the best goal scorer of all time. So it's a tough one. It's one that, Sanderson's been playing a lot in overtime. It's funny you mentioned him going too fast. I thought his overtime winner in Vancouver was similar. He just kind of went right at the net and just slid it under Lankin, and it was a ugly breakaway goal, as ugly as it gets. So, Sanderson, it'll come. But yeah, you're not going to find me nitpicking on Jake Sanderson saying he's not good enough, shouldn't be out there in overtime. He's their horse back there, and especially without Thomas Chabot. I think he had a great game too, Ross. You were right. But Martian, I don't know. I mean, 3-on-3 is weird because they've had a lot of overtime games this year, and they've obviously won a few of them, but now they've lost their last two in Detroit and then here tonight as well. What are you seeing in 3-on-3? Because it's such a different game, and I know they want to keep possession, but almost feels like they're being too careful to me.
Yeah, like 3-on-3 to me is almost a little bit of a crapshoot. I mean, but when you look at Ottawa's team, they should be doing a lot better, I think, performance-wise in these overtimes than they have been. Because if you look at the weapons on this team, all of these guys can skate, and all of these guys are really skilled players. So the guys who are throwing over the boards in overtime are the kind of guys who are going to usually find success in these in a 3-on-3 situation. So it's surprising to me that they're not able to generate a little bit more scoring in these overtimes. But I think it'll come. I like what you're saying, Jack, about them being a little too cautious. I think they do circle back a little bit too much. I think a little bit more aggression is probably the way to go in these. And then the other thing is, when there's a loose puck and it's like in a corner in the offensive zone, I'm seeing them give up on the odd puck where they decide, instead of going and trying to battle for it, they're allowing the other team to get the possession of it, and then they're coming back the other way. And instead of going for the puck, they're trying to get themselves back into a good defensive position to try to slow the other team down. I think that's the wrong way to go. I think you got to take it nose first, get your chin over the puck and get in there. I think maybe a little bit more of that will probably do them well. But other than that, I mean, with the overtime, man, it's just like it's one shot, right? It's going to be the thing that does it. If that Ovechkin shot misses the net high and wide, it's going to go the other way, and the Sens are going to be on a 2-on-1, and it's going to go the other way, and the Sens are probably going to score. So it's really just, to me, it's a crapshoot. So I can't really nitpick overtime too much. But it's nice to get themselves to overtime to get that point. Every point matters right now, so just getting points is huge.
Yeah, I'm of the mind or feeling that in the last 5 minutes of the regulation, I'm way more nervous than in overtime. It's like, okay, if you get the extra point, sure, it's just 3-on-3, wild things can happen, but you have to keep getting points. And Ottawa gets one tonight, losing 1-0 in overtime against the Washington Capitals, the NHL's number one team. On the other side, we got a boots on the ground report. Josh Davis is going to join us. He was at the CTC tonight. We'll have our Sens Central standouts, and the chat is wondering, why is the offense dried up? We'll have those conversations next, but as always, let me remind you that the Postcast is brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Check out the GCP at 779 Bank Street for great food, awesome drinks, and an atmosphere to match. Make sure to get there on Sens game days and tell them Locked On Senators sent you, and you'll get 10% off your order at the GCP. You can also get your shuttle tickets, $17 round trip to and from the CTC to the GCP. Awesome time in the bus. Sue just hits the gas pedal, finds all the back roads, beats the traffic, and gets you back in one piece, leaving 15 minutes after the game. So get to the pub early, have a bite, and then take the shuttle an hour and 15 minutes before the game. You can get your tickets online at GlebeCentralPub.com, and you can head there any night. It's such an awesome place, especially I love when bars have live music. They've got that every Saturday night at the Glebe Central Pub. So head to where the vibes are free. That is the GCP, and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. The Postcast would not exist without the Glebe Central Pub. So support us by supporting them. Today's episode is also brought to you by Indeed. Indeed. When you realize your business needed to hire someone, not today, yesterday, how can you find amazing candidates? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed's sponsored job puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach candidates faster. I've been in that spot where you need the right hire like yesterday. The pressure's on, and every day without the right person is a setback. That's where Indeed's sponsored job comes in handy. They make sure that post gets seen by the right candidates right now. So speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying about you heard Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. Shout out to Indeed. Great people supporting us here on the Locked On Senators podcast, and we appreciate everybody for making us a part of your daily routine here with Ottawa Senators content. We're now joined by Josh Davis. How's the game tonight, buddy?
It was an awesome game tonight. The crowd was buzzing, and sad way to lose, but it's Ovi, so, what can you do?
Was that a part of the thought process on your walk out of the rink? Like, oh, man, I'm kind of watching history in the making here a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's hard to hate him scoring. He does it so well, so.
So what was your thoughts throughout the game? Obviously, nice defensive, good goaltending, but what stood out to you watching it live?
Honestly, I thought, we competed with them all night. We were right in there every battle. I thought it was a really, really good game by Nick Jensen. He was buzzing. He wanted that win. But, yeah, they were competing really well in that game.
Josh, I'm not sure about, I got one for you quick about Chychrun. I wanted to know if there were any boos around you in the crowd and if maybe you participated in any. I didn't hear any through the broadcast, really. Maybe the one time he held the puck behind the net in the first or second, I think, but I didn't hear any.
There were a couple, yeah. But then they gave him his little promo on the big screen and he got a bunch of cheers. So But no, I didn't participate. I liked Chikrin when he was here, and I still like him now.
Yeah, just a little respectful one of these. Martian, you got one?
Yeah, I know it's tough to blame Chikrin for everything that shook out here in Ottawa. I think this was just a fit thing, and but Josh, I had a quick question just about your sweater, man. That's a nice looking sweater you've got on there. I'm looking for a review on that puppy because I've had my eyes on that exact sweater for a while here. So
yeah,
low down here. Is it comfortable? How do you feel on that thing?
I love it. It's warm. It's nice. I got it for Christmas. Shout out my parents. And I love it.
That's awesome. Well, we'll get you out of here on this one, Josh. You mentioned Nick Jensen, but give us your number one Sens Central standout in this game, watching it live at the CTC.
I'm going to go with Nick Cousins.
Okay, off the board pick. What Nick Cousins do for you tonight?
I think the last couple games, he's been really showing why he's a veteran in this league, why he's a Stanley Cup champion. And I just thought he does all the small things right.
Final question. How'd you get home so quick, dude?
I don't live too far from the rink.
Okay.
I'm only like a 10, 15-minute drive. So. All
right. Well, man, you hustled home and you gave us some great insight. So we appreciate you, Josh. Thanks for doing this, man. Go Sens, go.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you a lot.
Awesome. Talk soon, man. Go Sens, go. See ya. There goes Josh Davis. Boots on the Ground report. I love those. The Boots on the Ground report, always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Yes, Pillsy jumping in the chat. Stu is his Uber driver. Getting Josh back from the game. What a beauty. Pillsy chiming in. Love that. Okay, boys, let's get to Donovan Sebrango here. We'll save our Sens Central standouts for the third segment. First, you know what never gets old? The rookie lap. No bucket. And I don't know, he has to have some buddies in attendance that have given him a hard time. You see his first shot hit the post.
It was awesome. Yeah,
he lost the puck in his feet.
Yeah,
he lost the puck in his feet and then hit the post.
Yeah, worst nightmare.
Dude, I thought he had a good game though. Jack, what'd you see from Sebrango?
I liked him, man. He had a couple of plays where he shifted a forechecker twice. It happened. I don't know who was forechecking, but he obviously didn't play a ton. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but pretty sheltered role for him, which is what you want. But man, first NHL game against the best team in the league is not an easy task, and I thought he was fine. Like, he didn't stand out in a bad way, which is what you want for a defenseman. Really, really cool. I got to play against Donovan actually when I was a bit younger. He was younger than me, so didn't really notice him like back then. You know, you're not looking at him as a guy who maybe would make the NHL, but he just grinded. What I like so much, man, and everyone I'm sure on Twitter saw his mom pregame. She's very active on Twitter, Kim. And I didn't realize this until just now. He spoke postgame and he said she was a single mom and raised him. So they had some great moments during the game where they interviewed her, I think at the beginning of the second or third, and she was very emotional and very cool. I think the broadcast did a great job highlighting how crazy it is to make the NHL. It's everyone, you know, a lot of people play hockey and like the very few percent make it. It's such a grind, and really cool that he got to do that on home ice in his hometown, getting traded here. So this is a great story.
I thought he had one play that stood out there in the third period that were potential break for Alex Ovechkin, and he got his stick in there and disrupted the play. So he was confident too in the second period. He had one where he kind of shoulder fake, turned around, bought himself some time and space. And he's been playing quite a bit with Nicholas Matinpalo this year. I know we brought up how Matinpalo and Clevin played a lot last year together, and that chemistry's carried over. So I'm sure it was nice for him to look to his right and see the big hulking Matinpalo. Heard him speak for the first time today. Yeah. Matinpalo, first time I ever heard his voice. He's exactly what I thought he'd be. Quiet, calm, cool, collected. Eh, Marsh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was actually surprised that they had him on it for an interview, and it was perfect. Yeah, he was just like, hey, listen, this kid's, you know, he's okay. He's going to be fine out here. And Matinpalo's just got that calm, cool, collected, finished personality that you kind of expect. Probably a little bit crazier if you get him behind closed doors, I imagine, as most Finns are, but that was pretty funny. And yeah, and 11:38 on ice for Donovan Sebrango tonight. Great debut, I thought. Especially in the first period, I was like kind of a little bit nervous for him almost, but he didn't seem nervous out there. I think he got his mistake out of the way in that rookie lap, and then after that, he was cruising out there. He looked confident with the puck and away from the puck as well, I thought. And even right early in the game, he got in the mix a little bit with Nick Dowd. And I think that maybe engaged him a little bit, let everybody know, I'm here, I'm in the show, and I'm ready to play. So Donovan Sebrango, nice local boy, Gananoque, not too far from where I grew up. So cool to see him get his shot. And yeah, just to comment on his mom there real quick. What a beauty she is, eh? Like, just like having the time of her life. She said in that second intermission interview, she said, "This is the best day of my life." So really cool to see a parent, live vicariously through their child like that. So good stuff.
And Ross, quickly,
she might one up it tomorrow because there's a good chance she will be joining us here on Locked On Senators.
Awesome. So not to harp on the offense, but Sebrango had a look in the third period. He was in the slot. Like that, I thought it was going in when he shot it. Like, I don't know if it got on net, but he had a look, and that would have been crazy. What a story that would have been. But that'll be a great interview with Kim. She seems like a great interview as well.
Yeah, we'd been chatting with her a bunch last time he got called up, and she's like, I don't want to jinx anything. As all good hockey parents, they want to make sure that they're supporting their kid first and foremost. And we'll be happy to chat with her when the time is right. We will get to our Sens Central standouts here in a moment. First, let me tell you about Game Time. This postcast is brought to you by Game Time. You want last-minute tickets? Get them at Game Time. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, comedy, theater, music. One of my favorite memories this year, of course, it was the home opener in Ottawa. We got our tickets at Game Time, and now Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with the new feature, Game Time Picks. The feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching for thousands of tickets. Recently, I was looking for tickets, and I saw the super deal. It offers great seats at unbeatable prices, and the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Lalime's Martian and Jack Richardson. You can find our links to social media in the bio below. 1-0 the score. The loss comes at the expense of 1 point, but with another. So no goal scorers tonight. So I'm curious who the second and third standouts are. We could all unanimously say it's going to be the goalie, Levi Merilinen. Who wants to hit on it first? Because we missed one big play that he had. I'm already chatting, so I may as well finish off this. I'll throw it to you, Jack, on this. That breakaway save in overtime was a thing of beauty on Tom Wilson.
I thought we had another Linus Ullmark big pad save against Boston, go the other way thing on our hands. I thought it was over when Wilson had it. I don't know why. Just had a feeling, and nope, Levi Merilinen was there. He's so good, man. It's just so great to watch. One save, it wasn't even a big moment in the game, but it was Chychrun. It was probably his best look of the night. It was in the third. He had like that short side look with Protas on the Caps in front of him. He was a monster. I didn't know he was so big. It's all I can think of when I see him. He's massive, standing right in front of Merilinen, and he just makes it look so easy. Just looks around him, catches it with a glove, face off. Like, that was the one save in regulation, at least, that stood out to me. Merilinen has let in 2 goals in regulation in his past 3 starts.
Yeah.
4 starts, right? 4 starts or 1 goal. Like, I'm losing track here even. 1 goal against Dallas, shutout against Pittsburgh that
2
weekend.
Against Dallas. They got that cheeky one at the end, remember?
So yeah, two goals in regulation in his last 4 starts is unbelievable. This guy is a legit goalie in the NHL. He's played a lot of hockey lately too, so I'm curious what they're going to do this weekend. I doubt they go to him again.
They go to him Saturday. I think you give Forsberg Sunday, or you hope that Ullmark's not playing. He hasn't even started skating with the team.
Saturday's a must-win game, so I would put Levy in for that one. Give him the home crowd, get your best, and then depending how that goes, maybe you go with him again on Sunday. I don't know. I'd rather just lay off him a little bit. He's played a lot of hockey the last 2 weeks, but he's just outstanding. He's outstanding. The team loves him clearly, and I'm not saying they don't love Forsberg, but when you stop the puck, your team's going to love you a bit more as a player. So he's been great. I'm just getting excited thinking about a tandem, a healthy Linus Ullmark and a young Levi Merlinen for not just this season, but the next half decade here in Ottawa. It'll be a lot of fun. He's the guy going forward. He's the guy now. Levi Merlinen, number one standout.
Go ahead, Marshy.
Yeah, I think you guys basically said it all. He's looking really good. He's looking like a young stud out there, and he's doing his job really well. So, Levi Merlinen, man, he's been incredible. Do you want me to jump right into my standout, Ross? Or is
Yes, please.
That what you're looking for? Well, okay, cool. And like you said, there hasn't been any goal scorers in this game for the Ottawa Senators. So we're all going to have to, dig deep into the stats on this one and look for a guy who performed above expectations. And for me, it's a guy who had to step up tonight and play on the second pair on defense, in replacement of Thomas Chabot. He got to play with Nick Jensen here tonight, who obviously is a great little partner for any defenseman. But I'm going to have to go with Tyler Kleven, boys. Tyler Kleven, I think that, he's one of those D-men who is all of a sudden starting to look, he's been doing it all year, so I can't really say all of a sudden, but he's looking great. And he looked comfortable in a second pair role on this team. And he's been playing in that third slot for, the entire season. And then this opportunity now comes to him where Chabot's out. He's going to have to play a little bit more time on ice, a little bit tougher matchups against tougher opponents out there. And he was fantastic again tonight, boys. 4 block shots for Tyler Kleven. And it wasn't just the defensive side of the puck for me. He was stepping up offensively. He watched the puck. You give it to him on the blue line. He walks the line. He's out there. He's ripping the pills. He had 3 shots on goal tonight. And I don't know. NHL.com is kind of shitting itself on me right now. I
know, me too.
I think he had 22 minutes of ice or close to it. So it's got to be close to a career high.
I got you. 21:47. Shout out.
Well, yeah, close to 22 minutes out there. And I think Tyler Kleven just had a fantastic night in a night where you needed him to be good because Thomas Chabot wasn't there. You needed a guy to carry a bunch of minutes and get out there and kill some time. And he did that. So Tyler Kleven, and I bet you if you ask the Washington Capitals who was a pain in the ass to play against tonight, they would probably tell you that Tyler Kleven was a bit of a nightmare because he's just a big body and he's got a great twig and he moves pucks. So Tyler Kleven for me, easy standout pick.
All right. Yeah, good call there, Marshy. He also had 3 shots on goal, which was tied with Claude Giroux and Nicholas Matin-Palou for second most on the team. Brady Tkachuk had 5 in this game. My Sens Central standout, I will go with Nick Jensen. The revenge game for him. I thought he was skating really well tonight. He even got some power play time because of Thomas Chabot's absence, and I thought he looked fine there. It was just interesting to see him out. But at 5-on-5 with a new partner and all that, I was pretty excited to see Nick Jensen continue to elevate his game. So Nick Jensen will be my Sens Central standout. I thought he and Jacob Chychrun had pretty identical impacts on the game. Chychrun had a couple looks, but other than that, I think that Nick Jensen was stride for stride with him out there. So, I'm going to go with Nick Jensen. I could have easily gone with Donovan Sebrango. I'll go with the guy that played twice as many minutes in this game. So with 23 minutes of time on ice, Nick Jensen will be my Sens Central standout.
I thought a lot of people had a good game. It's such a weird one to break down. Like I said at the top, I thought that Zub was great. I thought he's really settling in. I think that top 4 defense to me feels like it's really coming into form. I know hopefully Chabot's back soon. I'm sure it's just a swelling issue for him. Just can't be comfortable given I know we haven't seen close up what his injury looks like, but I imagine broken nose, some teeth are gone. But anyway, I've liked Zub a lot. I think Zub was good on Ovechkin for the most part tonight. That Russian connection, I'm sure they were in some scrums together. I don't know if they know each other or something along those lines. I'm sure they're pretty friendly sometimes, but I thought Zub was great. I thought something I wanted to shout out. We didn't get a chance to talk about the captain. I thought Brady Tkachuk not fighting Tom Wilson in that moment is a pretty big, what's the word I'm looking for? Like progression from Brady Tkachuk, really, right? Knowing the situation of the game, take a 4-on-4, take 2 minutes. Don't take yourself out of the game for 5+ minutes. At such a crucial time. It was smart. Just don't even drop the gloves. Don't do it.
I will.
Speaking of great, go ahead.
That's a fight I want to see, though. That is a fight.
100%.
I want to see that fight one day. But yeah,
and the rare one with Brady too, where it would be a pretty even, like a good trade-off. Wilson's a good player, right? It's rare where he'd fight someone that's as equal of a skill, I'd find.
Boys, are we going to start talking about Brady Tkachuk's offensive drought, or are we going to wait till after Saturday? Because that's a game you need the captain to show up and get on the scoreboard on Saturday. And that's now 5 straight games without a point now for Brady Tkachuk. 1 goal, no assists in his last 6 games. I think he's been playing great defensive hockey. I was impressed with him again tonight in that standpoint. 5 shots. He had a good look in the third period as well. That would have been a humongous goal. But he needs to bury on Saturday. This is the biggest game of the year. The Boston Bruins on Saturday afternoon, hockey day in Canada. They're 1 point up on you in the standings, but you have 2 games in hand now. Tonight was one of their 3. This is as big of a game as you're going to see. You need your captain to put the puck in the net.
Let's make a deal, Ross. If he doesn't do anything on Saturday, if he doesn't get any points, then we'll talk about it. But I think he's gearing up for that one. You know he's going to be ready for that game. I think it's going to be a big Brady Tkachuk game on Saturday. So let's just stay tuned on that. I don't think there's any reason for us to worry too much about his offensive output right now at this point. The team, the last few games, they've been winning. They got a point tonight. He hasn't been shooting the puck as much as he has historically lately. So that might have something to do with it too. But I think that Saturday is going to be one of those ones where that's a Brady Tkachuk slump buster game if I've ever seen one. He's going to get emotionally invested in that puppy, and he's going to get ready to rock. So let's just maybe hold tight on the if we're going to give him a hard time about being on an offensive drought, let's let him have a chance on Saturday to break it before we do that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. 2 shots on goal in each of the last 3 games for Brady. Tonight he had 5, so maybe that's an indicator that he's starting to get his nose for the net back sniffing. Great game tonight, though. Unfortunate result, but great game. We'll have more to break down with Pilsy on Friday's Locked On Senators. Potentially a visit from Kim Sebrango. Otherwise, we'll hold that for next week, and we'll discuss how the out-of-town scoreboard was simply awful for the Ottawa Senators tonight. The Montreal Canadiens win in regulation. The Lightning win in a shootout. The Wings win in regulation. The Blue Jackets win in regulation. Heck, even the Philadelphia Flyers won in regulation on this Thursday of NHL action. So now Montreal's back tied with Ottawa in the standings. Another reason why Saturday is humongous for this team. Who's Montreal got on Saturday? The Leafs at home. So Leafs Habs on Saturday. This is meaningful games, boys. Jack, any final thoughts from you on today's show?
They just need to score some goals. Something's got to give with the power play. I know we touched on it a little bit. I'd like to see them switch up something. Like, that unit's been pretty intact all season. Do something. Change someone out, one guy. I don't know. Power play hasn't been good enough. And that to me is the reason they lost, if you got to look at anything. So my final thought is just got to find a way. Martian, we mentioned it before we hopped on here. They've been shut out now in 2 of the last 3 home games since coming back to the CTC after such a long road trip. The fans have had nothing to cheer about. So it's been unfortunate. You got to give the fans something to cheer about. So hopefully they can figure it out offensively. And I think it starts with the power play. But again, not pressing any panic buttons here. That was still a good effort against the best team in the NHL.
And you got a point. Martian, final thoughts from you, sir.
Yeah, no, it's a solid game from the team. I think they're on a little bit of I like the way they're playing. So if they can just keep this going, they take on the Bruins who are not playing great lately. So, and they've got issues. So let's take advantage of that and let's get a W here. Let's keep looking forward. I think that, we all got to understand that this time last season, it was tough to do these postcasts. They had really not a whole lot to play for at that point last year. So let's just enjoy this. Let's get behind this team and let's have some fun here.
Let's get some Go Sens Go in the chat. We appreciate everybody for making us your listen every single day and a part of your routine. Cannot express how much it means to us. My boys at Lalime's Martian and Jack Richardson. For our guy, Brandon Pillar, who will be joining me tomorrow morning to discuss. I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to head down to the 779 Bank Street and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you on game days. Get 10% off and the Sens Shuttle, $17 round trip to and from the CTC. So get your tickets online at GlebeCentralPub.com. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.